Okay, so we're about to send our file off to printer, but we need to check for built type. We're going to click this button here for separations preview. We're going to turn our overprint button on, and we're going to turn our black on and off. What we're looking for is this thing called built type. So what is built type? Built type is when we have our type a color build that's not 100% K. So why is this bad? This is bad because misregistration on print. If there's any kind of misregistration, what your type is going to look like is this. This happens when the four separations of your color build are slightly off, and some amount of misregistration is something you can expect. Not terrible, but what happens is it becomes very blurry on the type and very difficult to read. It's even worse when you do reversed out type, because you see here we have this color build that's made up of, well, that should be multiple colors, but then you have misregistration, and it makes it even worse when you have reversed out type, because look at how much harder that is to read when you back out and look at that. So another big issue is QR codes and UPCs. We have the exact same issue with built color builds for the ability for people to read it. In this case, it's going to be the computer or the scanner that's trying to read the code. If you have any misregistration on a UPC, it will not scan. Same thing with the QR code. If someone's trying to use their cell phone to take a picture of this, they're going to have trouble reading this, and it's probably not going to go to your web link. So here's how to fix this. What you want to do is create a swatch, and we're going to drag it over here and add it. And what we're going to do is make it 100% K. And this is we're going to use this swatch for all type. So if I go back to our separations preview and I turn off our black, you can see the builds in here. So to change that, select your type, go back to your swatch, and now when you turn on your separations preview, when you turn your black off, it's fixed. Okay, so same thing with QR codes. In this case, we have a vector one for our UPC and our QR code. It makes it really easy to edit this, but in this case we have a linked file. This is going to be either a Photoshop or a PNG or a JPEG, doesn't matter what it is. I picked up a trick from another designer here to make it really easy to change this. What you want to do is go to Object, Rasterize, and then make sure you're on high at 300 dpi, but change your color mode to grayscale and hit OK. And I believe that has embedded this in here, so you don't have to worry about this as a missing link anymore. And if we go back to our separations preview and turn off our black, ta-da, we have fixed that QR code. Okay, so another way to do that is to unembed our link. So we can edit this in Photoshop after we've unembedded it, and go to Image, Mode, Grayscale, File, Save. So now when you come back into Illustrator, it'll ask you to update it. And it's fixed. So those are two methods of dealing with QR codes and UPCs. I also have another resource that I like to use for the vector versions of that. You can actually create your QR codes inside of Illustrator with a plugin. What I'm using is QR Code Maker Pro, and that's under Window, Extensions, QR Maker Code Pro. And here you can type in your web link and create your QR code. And that makes it really easy to control the color. And because it's a vector, it's going to print a lot cleaner. Another resource is onlinebarcodegenerator.net. These ones will generate QR codes and UPCs, and when you click this button, you can actually decide what format you want. You want to be looking for EPS, and you can get your vector files through that and bring them into Illustrator. So that's how you deal with that. So we'll go back to our design that we've done, and same thing, we'll turn on our overprint preview, turn off our black, and we're going to fix our type. So what you can do here is select same fill color, and you can select a lot of things at once. Like say you have type everywhere, you can select it all at once. Grab your swatch, drag it in here, and we'll change it. Okay, so now we fixed it. Same thing with this. Select in here, you have your stroke, select same stroke color, and go back to your swatch. There you go. This is a different build here, so I want to change it back to a fill, and there we go. Our built black type is fixed. We won't have any readability or legibility issues on print now. Next thing we want to check is for our links. So for our links, we have two options. We can either send the links individually to the printer, or we can embed them. And it's super easy to embed them. Just go to link and embed. So do that for all these. Embed. Okay. One issue though that we run into is large file sizes. When you're embedding, it's going to create your it's going to cause your Illustrator file to go up in size. That's the whole reason for the dynamic link library that Adobe has set up, is to reduce file sizes. So say you want to send another version, you could just send the Illustrator file without the links, as long as they have the links, and you can just update it dynamically really quickly without having to send large files. It's really nice to have. In this case, we have this PSD here for grandma holding a plate of cookies. Okay, so the issue here is it's 50 megabytes, which is going to be huge. And how we deal with that is by optimizing it. So let's delete grandma out, and we're going to go to our PSD. Okay, go to image size, and we see that we're at 72 dpi at 45 inches by 51. So we're going to make this our standard 300. This is the standard for print. Always do 300. Anything above is just going to be extra file size. There's really no advantage to going to above. You don't want to go much below 300, because this is what the human eye likes to see at this resolution. So hit OK. But we also have another issue. We're still too big. So what we want to do is go back to our file and kind of estimate how big we need this photo. Right here we have dimensions. We have 5.5 by 7.024. So we want our image to be around that size. So what we're going to do is, on the width, let's do 5.75. Yes, image size. See how much we've reduced that by, but our resolution is the wrong size. So let's click resample 300. Hit OK. Okay, now we've shrunken it to the correct size that we need for optimization. File, save. And we're going to place our grandma's cookies back in. Now you've noticed that we've gone from 50 megs to 17.4. That's a huge reduction in file size. Just drop her in here. Make sure we get her on the correct layer. Cool. And then we can apply our clipping mask. There we go. Now we've optimized our file. I could have done a little bit better job, but you get the idea. Okay, last thing is the bleeds. We want to make sure that we're hitting our bleeds at all the places that we're supposed to be hitting. Here's our bleed line right here. understanding what's going on here with the flaps for the dust flaps is we kind of want a little bit of overhang here. We don't necessarily need that much. What we could do here if we wanted to is click here and here. Let's grab our direct selection tool and bring it back just a little bit, because what we want when we go to cut this, if there's any shift on press, we don't want any white showing on our main area, but we want just a little bit here, just in case it's off by a little bit. Same thing with misregistration. You're going to have the same issue with die cutting. You can expect it to be just a hair off. That's basically standard for the industry. So what we as designers, we have to kind of account for that on our bleeds. Like it says, if you want to edit the bleeds, you could put new anchor points here and use them at your disposal. Say you want to put, you no longer want white on this dust flap. You can just start deleting anchor points and make your bleed. Okay, so yes, we've solved the issue of the built blacks. We've got our bleeds, we've got our images optimized, and we've got our links embedded. Well, almost all of them. One last thing that we want to check is type. So same thing with links. If we don't send our fonts over, there's a chance our printer isn't going to have the fonts. So to deal with that, we can do select all, or we can individually select and do type create outlines. What we've done here is we've changed it from ASCII to object. So now it's a vector object, and now we don't have to worry about any conflicts with the not having the fonts, because if we send this off to the printer and they don't have the special font that our company paid for, they're going to have to go back to you and get that font, or have you outline the fonts. And that pretty much concludes Preflight. As a bonus, I want to share with you some tricks to help speed up your production. This is a Logitech G02 or G502 Hero. These things are like gold in pre-press. They're on sale right now for about $50, but typically they're around 80. And why this is such an important tool is because the ability to program buttons on your mouse. I have my zoom in and zoom out programmed to the thumb buttons here, so I can quickly move in and out without having to use my keyboard, and that really speeds me up. So if you can get one of these, next thing I want to show you is your custom hotkeys. So what you want to do is go into Illustrator up here, go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, set you a custom profile, change your menu command to Edit, go down here, and you want your paste in place to be your paste. So Command or Control V, depending on whether you're on Mac or on Windows, you want that to be paste in place as your hotkey. The reason for that is, say you've got multiple versions of your box that you're designing, and you've got multiple artboards. What you can do here, create you a new artboard. Anything that you select, if you paste in place, it's going to go identical to where it's supposed to be on every artboard, so nothing moves. And why this is really important is if you're doing like foil, emboss, or gloss UV, you want them to be the same place throughout all versions, and what that's called is a common UV or a common emboss or a common foil. And this is going to save your employer money if everything's common across all versions. They don't have to buy a new foil die or a new UV screen every time you put in a new version or a different placement. So like it says, if this moves at all, it's not going to be the same between any of the versions, and that's a real common error that designers make when they're pasting. So paste in place eliminates all of that, and it's really going to speed up your design. because now you don't have to use the keyboard shortcuts to get there. Using 3 fingers, you could just use the 2 fingers to paste in place. And that's it.